What would you do if helping family meant risking everything you've built? Seriously, imagine starting a company from nothing, grinding for years, employing dozens of people, and then being called heartless because you refused to hand someone a fake job. That's exactly what happened to me, and by the end of this story, I lost my sister, my parents, and most of my extended family over one job offer. I run a mid-sized logistics business. Nothing flashy, warehouses, shipping, real work. I'm proud of it because I built it from the ground up. My twin sister has always been hardworking and ambitious. Her husband, on the other hand, has spent years bouncing from job to job. Retail, call centers, delivery work, you name it. Every time there was an excuse. The boss was terrible. The hours were unfair. The environment was toxic. Nothing ever stuck. Meanwhile, my sister picked up the slack. She worked longer hours, took on extra projects, and carried the household while he drifted between unemployment and video games. I stayed out of it because it wasn't my marriage. Then everything fell apart. My sister lost her job. Her husband stopped working entirely. My retired parents started lending them money they couldn't afford to give. That's when I decided to step in and help in a practical way. I offered my brother-in-law a job at my company. A real job. Warehouse operations, inventory, shipping, forklift training, $42,000 a year, full benefits, paid time off. No interview hoops, no references, no judgment, just an opportunity. He sounded genuinely grateful. He thanked me and said he was ready to start immediately. I thought the problem was solved. 2 days later, my phone rang early in the morning. It was my sister, yelling before I could even say hello. She said the job was insulting. She accused me of treating her husband like he was worthless. She demanded to know why I thought he was only good enough for manual labor. She wanted him in an office role instead, despite him having no qualifications, no relevant experience, and no track record of reliability. I tried to explain calmly. Office positions require skills, training, and accountability. I have employees who worked years to earn those roles. Handing out an unearned office job to a family member would destroy morale and undermine my credibility as a boss. That didn't matter to her. She said I was being classist, selfish, and arrogant. She said family should come first. I told her the offer stood as it was. Warehouse job or nothing. That's when my parents got involved. They called to say I was being insensitive. They said family comes before business. They suggested I should just find something in the office for him, regardless of qualifications. I stood my ground, and after that, the silence began. My brother-in-law never showed up for the job. I later found out my sister convinced him not to take it, telling him it was beneath him and disrespectful. From that moment on, the story being told about me was that I refused to help my struggling sister out of spite. Months later, my sister contacted me again. She looked exhausted. She was pregnant, unemployed, and clearly overwhelmed. I agreed to meet her, thinking maybe she finally understood the situation. I offered the warehouse job again and even explained the path for advancement. Supervisor roles, better pay, better benefits, all based on performance. She said no, not because the money wasn't enough, not because the benefits didn't matter, but because of how it would look. She didn't want people knowing her husband worked in a warehouse. That's when I realized this was never about survival or stability. It was about ego and appearances. Not long after that, my parents showed up at my house unannounced, smiling and acting like nothing had happened. They brought chocolates, talked about the baby, and then asked if I could create an entry-level office position for him. Just something to get his foot in the door. Something that wouldn't look bad. I said no. That's when everything exploded. I was called cold, elitist, selfish. My sister said I didn't deserve to be her brother. She said she hoped my business failed, so I would know what it felt like to struggle. They left, and after that, I was completely cut off. Here's the irony. Months later, my brother-in-law took a retail job, making $13 an hour with no benefits. The warehouse job I offered paid more than 3 times that amount, with health insurance and real growth potential. But at least it didn't hurt their image. Around the same time, I promoted a warehouse employee who had earned it through years of hard work. When I told him, he teared up. That moment reminded me why I made the decision I did. So, here's the real question. Is help still help if it doesn't come with status? And does family support really mean abandoning your principles? I refused to lie, and I refused to undermine the people who earned their place